Hello and welcome to English tutorial sessions by Wizert. In today's video, we are going to discuss about letter writing, its introduction and format. What is a letter? A letter is a written or printed communication to a person or an organization. Whenever you want to say something to another person, and if you are giving it to them in a written form, that is considered to be a letter. It could either be printed or handwritten. Types of letters. Majorly, there are two types of letters. Let us discuss them one by one. The first one is formal letters. Formal letters are letters to people whom we don't know personally, or even if you know them personally, then you share a very formal relationship with them. For example, if you're writing a letter to the principal of your school or the editor of a newspaper, that will be considered as a formal letter. Next category is informal letter. Informal letters are letters which keep us in touch with family and friends. They are also called personal letters. So, informal letters are written to the people with whom you share a very close relationship. For example, if I'm writing a letter to a friend or a cousin or another family member, that will be considered as an informal letter. And another name for informal letter is personal letter. Points to remember while writing a letter. Start with a salutation. The salutation you use will depend on the relationship with the recipient of the letter. So the person who is going to receive your letter, if you share a formal relationship with them, then you have to use a formal salutation. If you share an informal relationship with them, then you have to use an informal salutation. Which means that if I'm writing a letter to the principal of my school, then I will say respected sir or respected ma'am. But if I'm writing a letter to my friend whose name is Sarah, then I will say dear Sarah. Start with the letter. If you're writing an informal letter, start by writing after the recipient's well being. So basically, we can start asking about their health and their well being. How we do it? Example, how are you? I am fine here and hope the same for you. This is one sample. If you're writing a letter for a formal purpose, then you do not ask about the well being of the person, but you directly start with the letter. Proofread the letter. Before submitting the letter, read it over a few times to make sure that it does not have any spelling or grammatical errors. This is one point that you need to consider while writing both formal and informal letters. After finish writing it, you have to read it once or twice to make sure that there are no mistakes in it. Format of informal letter. Now, just next to the margin, you have to write down the sender's address. So for example, if I am writing a letter to my friend, then over here I need to write my address. Then I will leave and write down the date. Now there are various ways in which we can write the date, but please make sure that you don't use the word date. You just directly have to write it. So either I can say 1st November 2020, or I will say November 1, comma, space 2020, or I can first write the month and then the date. So 11/1/2020, or instead of a slash, I can also use hyphen and write the month and then the date, 11-1-2020. After writing the date, I again have to leave one line and then I will write dear dash. So on this dash, you need to fill the name of the person to whom you're writing the letter. For example, if you're writing it to your mother, you could say dear mother, dear mom, or dear dad. Or if you are writing to a friend, then you can write their name. So generally we divide our informal letters into three major paragraphs. The first one will be the basic introduction. For example, how are you? I am fine here and hope that you are sailing in the same boat, which means that I am fine and I hope that you are also fine. I'm writing this letter to tell you about dash. So whatever purpose is of your letter, you could mention that over here in this particular dash. In the second paragraph, it is called the body of the letter, which is the most important paragraph. In the second paragraph, you need to mention all the details about what you are writing. So, for example, if I am writing a letter to a friend to invite them for my birthday, then I'm going to mention the venue, the date, what all I have planned for the birthday party, what all snacks will be there, the different kind of games will be there, and all those kind of things. In the third paragraph, you generally give your regards. For example, if you're addressing a letter to your dad, then you could give your regards to your mother or your grandparents. And if you're writing a letter to your friend, then you give your regards to their parents. So, for example, I could say, give my regards to your parents and love to your younger sibling. I hope I'll get to meet you soon. Yours lovingly or your loving friend. So, after that, now, please choose any one option. Either you will say yours lovingly, or you can say your loving friend, or your loving daughter, your affectionate daughter, or your affectionate son. Whatever relationship you share with that person, you can mention that. And finally, in the next line, you mention your name. That's all for today's video. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.